Hey everybody, and welcome to Woodcrest Bonsai. Today I'm going to work on 4 Ilex Shillings. They're all about 6 to 8 inches, so that would put them in the Shohin size category. And this first tree is in a motif pot, so it's got little drawings of other trees and landscapes on there. And I'm not really into that kind of pot, but when my friend liquidated her bonsai collection, she also liquidated all her pots. So it's still a nice pot. As far as the tree is concerned, it's also got some very nice movement. And shillings are pretty much dormant this time of year. You can see there's no new growth. So right now it's just some simple maintenance. So like this branch here that has grown way tall from the first main branch. Normally I try to keep my first main branch and my second main branch really nice and tight and dense with foliage that moves horizontally and some upward growth. So I'm going to cut that one off. And then this tree has, let me get rid of some of these leaves. This tree has some parallel branches, one here and one here. One's right on top of the other. But right now I really haven't decided, do I take it to here and leave that guy, or do I take this one off and leave that guy? So since I haven't really decided, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to leave it. Normally what happens as a tree begins to grow and mature, you'll start to see which one is going to end up looking better for your design. But I am going to take off some of the growth that's growing up on these guys. Just a tiny little bit. I have a fairly extensive back branch right here. But I'm leaving that on because I have a very large scar right here. And you can already see the vellum beginning to heal over. So this branch in the back will help that process tremendously. And now that I'm looking at it from the top, I can do that with the first main branch too. So I'm going to leave most of that on there. And then our apex has nice movement. There is another piece right here that's shooting straight up that competes with the apex. So I'm going to take it off because I want this small branch here to develop this way into the back. And then take maybe a little bit of that off. Because remember, we're discounting the sacrifice branch. So there's the tree. And aside for the parallel branches, I really like the movement. I like the structure. And Shillings makes great bonsai because they're just, well, this is as big as the leaf ever gets. I mean, that's it. So leaf miniaturization is not an issue. They make fat little trunks. And they're just fun to play with. They're pretty tough too, so they're one of my favorites. So that's number 1. Number 2 is in a round pot. Another tree with interesting movement. You'll notice here there's a big knob, which is not great, and that's because I made the mistake of leaving 3 branches that all emanated from that same point, and I didn't even realize it. So now we've got some reverse taper there, but it happened. And now I'm getting the same thing right here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different branches all coming off the same point, and you notice I'm getting a big knob right there too. So first of all, I'm going to shorten up these guys on the first main branch, and then I'm going to completely remove this one right here. Oop, those 2. Well, I was going to remove those 2 anyway. And I think I'm going to remove this one too in the back, because I do have a back branch up here. And eventually, oops, don't do that. And then we have, this is brand new growth. It's hardened off, but it grew over the past few months. And now my second main branch is a little weak, but I want it to move out into here. And then we have a number of competing apices. And I think what I might do, you might think of choosing one of these because it's coming forward. But let me cut this off here and remove some of these leaves here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it to there and bring this guy up as a new apex, so it will have a little movement forward and back along with side to side. So, boom. Now, was that a mistake? Well, remember Bob Ross, the painter guy? He always used to say that you can't make a mistake, it's just a happy accident. And I love that. And so my philosophy on bonsai is like cutting that apex off. Was that a mistake? My philosophy on bonsai is you can't make a mistake. You just increase the amount of time before you get a finished tree. So that's my take on the Bob Ross happy accidents. And so we could wire that guy into place and bring him up into there. And I think that was a good decision. I like that. This one's got great nabari, even with the knobbiness. And where I cut off these limbs right here, I probably need to get my concave cutters and completely chop that off completely to make it less of a knob. But I really like the motion of this tree. And also, as an aside, these trees are all exactly the same age. They were taken as cuttings at the same time. They were removed from the cutting bed and put into training pots at the same time. They were grown to a certain height and size, and then they were cut back at the same time. They were all put into bonsai pots basically at the same time over a couple of days. So they're all the same age. Okay, so there's number 2. Number 3 has some awesome nabari, just beautiful roots. And nabari in Japanese means more than just the way the roots move into the soil. It's the whole vision that the base of the trunk gives you of the stability of the tree. So that's really the essence of growing good root systems, is to create that anchoring of the roots. And this guy's looking pretty good. I don't see a tremendous amount of need for much anything. We do have this one branch in the back here that can come off. And I guess in theory we have some parallel branches here. I mean, this one certainly seems to be the one that I'm going to pick as a second main branch. But this one here is not that big of a deal. I may cut it into here, and eventually I may cut it back so that this little tiny growth right here is promoted out. And I'm just going to cut the apex because I really want a little bit more, growth out here. But this is a tree that also has what I'm looking for in a bonsai: good nabari, decent movement, nice branch placement, and fairly decent taper too. And then last but not least is this guy here. Another one that really almost needs nothing. And once again, we probably have parallel branches here and here. And this branch just comes out of the trunk. It doesn't come out at the outside of a curve, which is where I like my branches to be. So in theory we could eliminate him too, and that tree wouldn't suffer at all from removing that branch. For now I'm going to keep it. And then there's a couple of other little things I want to do. I just want to shorten up here. This growth here was very tall and long, and I shortened it, and now I want to shorten it even more. And a little bit more there. And then that's really about it. I love this pot. It's a really pretty pot. And it's got decent nabari. Not perfect, but I love the way that this root here, if we look here, you'll see this root here moves with the movement of the tree. So that's kind of cool. So Ilex Shillings is a great little tree. Makes great bonsai. In the ground, it's hardy all the way to zone 7. And if you are growing bonsai in cold areas, remember that the roots are basically exposed because they're not in the ground. So we've had some really severe freezing in the 1980s, and I had some trees that froze to death that you thought would never really have a problem, and that's because the roots froze. The water in the soil killed the roots because they're up, above the ground. So live and learn that way, huh? So there you go, 4 Ilex Shillings. And I have numerous ones of these guys, but they're a lot of fun to work with. I highly recommend that you add one to your collection if you're in a place where they will grow. And that's about it. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe and hit the notification bell, and you'll be able to watch these guys continue to develop. Now that they're all pretty much established, except for the one guy that had the parallel branches, now it's just a matter, like this branch here is only just, one little thing and no branching. So now I want to create branches this way. Like this guy's got a couple already. Promote the density of the pads. So in really only probably 2 or 3 more years, these trees could really look so much more mature with the new growth creating that density of the pad and the ramification that makes good bonsai. And the only way you can really continue to do that, to watch that, is to subscribe and be notified when I'm ready to do another video on these guys. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.